Hey, Apostles family, I just want to give some encouragement for wherever you are in this season from Psalm 13. Psalm 13, David, we don't know what he's going through, but he's going through a hard circumstance. He's going through a confusing time. He begins by saying, "How long, O Lord? Will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I take counsel in my soul and have sorrow in my heart all the day long?" Maybe for some of you, you're beginning to feel the challenge of this season. Maybe you're feeling the loss of income, the loss of connection. You're feeling lonely. You're not sure what the future is, and so you're a bit confused, and so you're wondering how am I supposed to feel? How am I supposed to feel connected to God and other people? Well, then David says this: "But I have trusted in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me." David uses the language of steadfast love. It's the language of covenant. In other words, David is remembering that whatever this circumstance is, this isn't the beginning or the end of how God has dealt with David. It isn't the beginning and end of God's story with David. He's been with his people since Exodus, right? He's been faithful to them through the wilderness wanderings. He was faithful to the people in the land when he gave them a new land. He's been faithful to David. There are stories that David is remembering in his own life, and there's going to be more. And for you, for this coronavirus, whenever things began to be intensified in January and for February, that wasn't the beginning of our story with God. Our beginning started with Abraham, with the life of Jesus and his life and death and resurrection. It's gone on by his Spirit. He's been present in our life. Remember the stories of God's faithfulness in your life. Remember when he gave you the benefits of salvation, the joy of good gifts in this world. And there's going to be more. There's going to be a time when he's coming to restore all things, and the coronavirus will just be a memory, a whisper, a rumor. And so what David is doing, he's not indifferent to his circumstances, and neither should you. He's saying hard things and asking hard things of God, but he's allowing God's history with him to inform his circumstance. And that's what we ought to do as well, is to remember of God's steadfast love throughout history, throughout your other parts of your life and what's coming. Let that define our circumstance. It won't make us indifferent to the circumstance, but it'll inform it that God is present, he's working, he's faithful, he's full of love for you. And one of the ways in which we can remember that is to stay connected with one another. Just yesterday, I was in a prayer meeting over Zoom with some people early in the morning, and then at noon, another prayer meeting I was a part of, and just being connected with people reminded me that God is at work. I'm not alone. I'm not just merely at the mercy of my circumstance. So stay connected with people, stay connected with God through his word and through prayer, and remember God's faithfulness in your life.